Back with my Kansas City Scouts hat on and my New York Rangers 70s style jersey. Somebody actually asked me about this on a video a while ago. Yeah, this is one of my favorite jerseys. Even though the owner of the Rangers went on to own the Jets and took this entire jersey style to the Winnipeg Jets, just with the Jets logo. And I figured it out looking at old Jets hockey cards. I'm like, that's the Rangers. Anyways, that aside, I have a set of scorecards from 1991. And this was the year that the Canucks made the big trade, when Courtnall, Ronning, Momesso, and Dirk came over from St. Louis for Quinn and Butcher. This is when I was at the height of watching every hockey game I could, loving every Canuck on the team, and I did. And it'll show in the little fun thing I came up with while I was looking through this set of cards, because the cards themselves aren't really worth that much. By that much, I mean like maybe $5 for the entire set. But it's the memories. Now, what I did was I thought, okay, if I had an all Shannon team, you have the all Madden team. So if I had an all Shannon team from back in 1991, who would have been on it? And it was tough to come up with 6 defensemen. Honestly, I had 6 goalies, I had 17 forwards, and 5 defensemen. So I had to kind of think over. There was one defenseman I was iffy on, and I thought, you know what? No, he was one of my favorites. So let's do this. My first line on left wing, the newly acquired Vancouver Canuck, Jeff Courtnall. At center, Adam Oates, because he would be the first line center. And on the right wing, first line, Cam Neely. What's not to love about Cam Neely? This is a line that would have scared the hell out of the entire NHL, and Jeff Courtnall could have scored 40 with these guys. And Adam Oates being between these two would have been the happiest hockey player there was. Jeff Courtnall eventually left Vancouver as a free agent, so they got nothing for him, like they did for Cliff Ronning, Greg Adams. Some guys you're going to see here. Okay, now my second line. This is my second line I'm going to throw over the boards. It's funny because I'm going to say this right now. I'm not a Flyers fan, and I've never been a Flyers fan. But my left winger is Brian Propp. Brian Propp is here because he played well. I want to make it so the glare isn't as bad on this. But Brian Propp played well as a North Star, as well as he did as a Flyer, and he was one of my favorite players. Second line center, Mike Modano. There we go. Mike Modano. And I believe they played on the same line that year anyways. And then on the right side, I always have a soft spot for Tim Kerr. Ah, yes, Tim Kerr. This year he had 27 games, 10 goals, 24 points. And Tim suffered through a tragic and trying season in 91. Nothing could be more devastating than the untimely loss of his wife, October 16th. Kathy Kerr passed away less than 2 weeks after giving birth to the couple's third child. He's quite a man to have withstood something like he had to go through, said teammate Pete Peters. He's carried himself so well. Tim returned to the Flyers lineup on October 30th, but his stay was short-lived. Torn knee ligaments and a pulled groin muscle kept him sidelined for long stretches of the season. Unfortunately, medical problems are nothing new for the 4-time 50-goal scorer. Tim has had a staggering total of 8 shoulder operations in his 11-year career. That's what a warrior looks like. As much as I dislike the Flyers, I never disliked Tim Kerr. Amazing. And so he'd be my second line winger only because Cam Neely's first. Now, third line. This is a damn talented third line. And this is a Vancouver Canucks line. On the left wing, you have Gus Adams. He went by Gus Adams because they traded for the other Greg Adams. There were 2 guys in the league named Greg Adams. Him and one in Edmonton. And yes, they got mixed up at one point on hockey cards, and it was funny shit to see. to see this Greg Adams on the other Greg Adams card and the other Greg Adams on this guy's card. I think it was Opeachy that did it. At center, Cliff Ronning. And on the right wing, that's right, the right wing, Trevor Linden. He was not a center then. This was his third season in the NHL. Look how young he is there. That third line would be deadly. And Ronning would have been a happy camper to have those talented wingers. He was usually with Sandlak and Mamesso. And while they were big, they were known as the Twin Towers. Wow. All right, on the fourth line, so this is my fourth line. On the left wing is Martin Jalina. You'll notice a bit of a thing here. At center, Igor Larionov. Imagine having him as your fourth line center. I, to this day, have never forgot what Larionov was to the team. And while he didn't score a lot of points, he didn't have to. And on the right side, Ulf Dahlin. It's a fourth line. Ulf Dahlin belongs here. All Ulf Dahlin did was fly under the radar and play fantastic hockey. I love the guy, and it's Minnesota. Defense, and again, this is where it gets tricky because in terms of me having favorite defensemen, they're few and far between. Your 1-2 pairing, bam. You got Doug Litzer and Ray Borg. Litzer never had a chance to play with a defenseman like Ray Borg until he got to New York and played with Brian Leetch. But at that point, Litzer's career had already started to sort of tail down, and that's too bad. My second pairing is Jyrki Lumme and Mark Tenorti. Jared Tenorti is a player that I've cheered for because of what his dad was. Mark Tenorti, absolute beast in front of his own net. And the idea of putting these two together, it would have been amazing in their prime. It would have freed up Lumme to play complete total offense because Tenorti was the ultimate in terms of defense. He scored points. Mark Tenorti scored points. But that's not what got him to the dance, and he knew that. Now, my third pairing, remember, this is a third pairing defense. I wasn't just going to put all All-Stars together, and honestly, I didn't cheer for All-Stars. Quebec Nordique, Curtis Leschyshyn. Minnesota North Stars, Kurt Giles. Giles was a dramatically underrated defenseman, and I cheered for Kurt Giles in Minnesota, much the same as Jeff Boychuk years later in Boston. Leschyshyn, I absolutely loved his game. Simple, and he was just great. To me, he was an underrated defenseman, and I loved what he brought to the game. And the way his name is spelled, and it's Leschyshyn. The first time I saw his name, I almost had a stroke. Like, just trying to pronounce it. Leschyshyn. So yeah, he gets on there partly because of his name. Now in net, this should surprise nobody. And it doesn't matter who the starter is. It really doesn't matter. Because this was during their primes. Kirk McLean or Andy Moog. Oh, Andy Moog's going up. Oh, Andy Moog's the starter. No offense, Kirk, but this season in particular, Moog started 51 games. McLean started 41. The record's nowhere near. Of course, this is the year before the Canucks became decent. So I really can't blame Kirk, but isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? And Reggie Lemelin was actually one of the 6 goalies that pulled aside. Ron Tugnut was in there too. Andy Moog. There's no doubt that Andy ranks among the league's finest goaltenders. In 90-91, he won at least 20 games for the 7th time in his career. He was selected to play in his 3rd All-Star game and posted 3 shutouts by the end of February. It was the 4th consecutive season he teamed with Reggie Lemelin to give Boston solid play between the pipes. In 89-90, Andy and Reggie shared the Jennings Trophy for allowing the fewest goals in the league. Andy was the main man in the playoffs as he led all postseason netminders goals against average, 2.21, and shutouts, too. Yeah, this was the 80s where shutouts were very, very rare. For a goalie to have 4, 5, 6 shutouts in the playoffs never happened. He broke into the league with Edmonton and played on 3 Stanley Cup winners before coming to Boston in a 1988 trade. And in 1988, he would go to the finals, play Boston, and the team would lose. But that's the All Shannon team. It's Canuck heavy, Bruin heavy. I had a hard time cutting David Christian from the team. I love Dave Christian and Bob Carpenter. Those were 2 veteran stars who could just turn it on, and just they were amazing. Sadly, Boston had Craig Janney, and how was it I used to describe Craig Janney? He imitated a hockey player. He wasn't any good. I didn't like Craig Janney, and then when he refused to come to Vancouver, I remember my reaction was good. And then we got Jeff Brown instead and went to the Stanley Cup Final in '94, and my reaction was better. That was the Nedved deal. Yeah, that was the Nedved deal. That was when Nedved wanted out. And my reaction was, off you go. But yeah, it's fun looking back. And Pavel Bure is not on this team because Pavel Bure joined the NHL a year later. It was the next season Pavel Bure joined the Canucks. So don't say, oh, well, where's Bure? Wasn't in this this set of cards, and he wasn't in the NHL yet. So that should give an indication of what I value in players. It's heart, it's personality. The Tim Kerr thing, just reading the back of that card even just makes me feel kind of emotional, and it's going through stuff like that. It's part of the reason why when I'm talking about Calgary yesterday, I mentioned Stajan right away as being a great guy because of all the personal issues he's had, and he's still been able to play through them. And when players go through, like I know when my wife left me 2 years ago, I was a wreck for weeks, months. And, it's hard to get over a big trauma in your life. So when I see a sports star who's already under a lot of pressure to be basically Superman, and they're going through that too. So not only do they have to play 82 games and be on for 82 games or they lose their job, but they have to deal with personal drama, and whether it's somebody's health or it's a marriage problem or it's something with kids or whatever it is. Oh, speaking of kids, I think it's the King Clancy Award was awarded to Henrik Sedin tonight. Henrik Sedin and his brother Daniel as well are 2 of the greatest humanitarians I've ever seen in hockey. And when you consider these guys are, giving millions of dollars to kids' hospitals, and that I've never seen anywhere where they've been rude to fans, or they've refused to get their picture taken or sign autographs. They're genuinely really great guys. Canucks fans don't take offense to the Sedin sisters' comments because they're not great players. Like, I will do this again. I'll probably do this with my O-Pee-Chee set. I'll make a current version of my favorite players' one team. And the Sedins will be on it. Probably third line. But they'll be on it. Because they really are great guys. And it's weird because nobody expects star Canadian players to fight. Nobody expects star Russians to fight or star American players to fight. But there's an expectation that if the Sedins get a cheap shot, they should turn around and fight back. And it's like, this is because they're Swedish. And I admit, the Canucks over their history have been very heavy on Swedes, but it's served them well at times. I do think more of a Canadian gritty flavor could have got them over the top in '94. Less in '94 than 2011, but definitely in both cases. But that '94 team, that was something special. And the Canucks, right from this season, the end of '91, and I remember that because when I was in school and the Canucks were out of the playoffs, and I said the Canucks are making the playoffs next year and they're going to be really good, and people laughed at me because as soon as I saw the Courtnall, Ronning, Momesso, Dirk trade for Quinn, who I hated, and Butcher, who I knew was over the hill, I was like, okay, we just got better fast. We added a line and a defenseman, and we gave up a pylon who's a cancer in the locker room, and a damn good heart and soul defenseman in Garth Butcher, whose best days are behind him. We got 4 good players for them. And Dirk's kind of the forgotten guy, but he was good in his role for the first 2 seasons of Vancouver. And everybody laughed at me. Oh, they're the Canucks. They're never going to win anything. You're an idiot. And I just knew. So when they got off to a fantastic start in 91 and 92, and then Bure came over 20 games into the season. And then it became the Bure show. And I was actually, in a way, upset. Because the Canucks were already, I believe, first in their division when Bure joined the team. So all people did was go, well, they got Bure, so they got better. And it's like, no, they were going to win their division without Bure. Because they were that damn good. They were fantastic. And it's stuff like that I look back on now. So when I watch what Toronto's doing, I reflect on what the Canucks did in '91, and I say, you know what? This is a similar script. They're younger players, but they're adding guys without subtracting. And that's how you turn it around. You add players as free agents, and I'm talking college free agents, like the young guys. You find some guy in college that the entire NHL's missed, you sign him. You get guys for draft picks. You get cap dumps. Christian Ehrhoff was big in Vancouver. He was a cap dump for the Sharks. Sharks fans couldn't stand him. Canucks pick him up for nothing. And all he did was score 50 points and play fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to put together a team of who my favorite players are now. I think that'd be fun. And again, it's got to be from the set. So there could very well be players who are in the NHL then that aren't in this set that would be my favorite players, but they're not in the set. That's the rule. So we'll see. They have a draft special on TSN right now. Of course, they have draft specials on from now until Friday. I'm having draft specials from now until Friday. It's different, though. The All Shannon team. Oh, I just love these guys so much. Especially Bork. Man, fucking Bork. 250 goals as a defenseman, and he ended up with 400 before he retired. I believe he ended up with 400. It's just unheard of. You will never see... And Carlson, as good as Carlson is, can't hold a candle to Ray Bork in terms of his ability to generate offense. And that not only could Ray Bork generate that offense, but he was great defensively, too. There was nothing he couldn't do. The only defenseman I've seen that I would compare to Ray Bork and say might nudge him out is Nicklas Lidstrom. I hated the Red Wings, but I had to admit Nick Lidstrom played a very clean, smart, quiet game, and he very rarely made a mistake. And he played a lot of games, he scored a lot of points, and he won a lot of championships. He was a key guy. And he didn't start out that way. It's not like he was drafted in the top 10. It's not like when he came over, everybody went out like, oh, Nick Lidstrom's here. But he very quickly made a name for himself and he made an impression. And those are the players I look for now. Man, Mark Tenorti, though. 32 points. Crazy. A big, rugged defenseman. He uses his size and strength to clear opponents from the Minnesota net. Somewhere during the middle part of our season, he took his game another step, said North Stars coach Bob Gainey. he wasn't content to just play defense, so he began to lead rushes, opening things up for our forwards. And I remembered that. Tenorti was so dangerous. So dangerous. Fun to cheer for. Man, so was Mark Giles, though. Oh, this is fun. I just... This is why I've got cards coming tomorrow, and I'm excited to get them. Because it's not just... You know, it's not just that you've got this piece of cardboard. It's a frozen moment in time. So this is Cam Neely with 51 goals in 69 games. 91 points. And it's a frozen moment from when he was at the top of his game. Here's Adam Oates. 61 games, 90 assists, 115 points. 90 assists. Like, Adam Oates, I swear, could have passed to a pine tree, and the pine tree would have had 20 goals. He was insanely good, and I was so upset that he never played for the Canucks. Because, of course, I drooled every time he became available for trade at the idea, at the very notion. Oates to Bure, Bure scores. Oates in front of the net to Bure, Bure scores. Like, Bure could have scored 70, 80 with Adam Oates. I mean, if Neely scored 50 in 50 games with Adam Oates, just the idea, just the notion of Bure and Oates, it made me sick that it never happened. Made me sick. Because everywhere he went, he made the team better. When St. Louis was going to trade him, it was for budget reasons, and Brett Hull offered to pay part of his contract. Brett Hull knew damn well that his goal totals, his 86 goals, 70 goals, that was Adam Oates as much as it was him. Adam Oates played a huge role in those goal totals for Brett Hull. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see who from the current crop of players is actually that close to my heart. It might be hard for me to come up with an actual team out of today's players. I guess we'll have to find out. Anyways, that's it for this video. I don't know if I'm going to do any more recording today. I'm probably going to watch parts of others. Eric Lindros. Play for the team that drafts you, Eric. Piece of shit. Had to go to Philly. And it's a trade that worked out great for Quebec. If he'd played for the Nordiques instead of getting traded for Philly, Philly probably wins the Stanley Cup with the guys they gave up, like Forsberg. And Colorado never wins the Stanley Cup by keeping Lindros. Baffling. Baffling. Lindros retires, never gets a cup. Quebec moves to Colorado and gets 2. Is it 2 or 3? Somebody on my channel told me, but I'm pretty sure it was 2. Just insane. Insane. Oh, they're talking about Shattenkirk. No, don't talk about Shattenkirk. Don't. My Bruins are going to overpay. They're going to give him like 6 first-rounders, 7 second-rounders, and fucking Tuukka Rask or something like that. Okay, we'll give you Tuukka Rask, but you got to throw in Jake Allen. Fuck. They're going to give him like $10 million a year and then say this is everything we need, and then Boston's going to get the #1 draft pick next year because they're going to suck. Not that Sinshin isn't going to be a great player. Fuck, even on NHL 16, they just project him as a bottom 6 forward. He has no value whatsoever, and his bottom 6 forward is low. So, I mean, there's no value for the guy. Very rarely does the game get things right, but it gets that right. Ugh. Just, alright. That's it from me for now, and thanks for watching.